Hi everybody. So I'm going to go through um, mixing um, this little piggy, and I'm gonna go over mixing it for bloom technique and mixing it for whatever technique you're gonna do. Dutch pour, ring pour. I mean, the basis is the same, and on it you build your experience with that special technique. So okay, so first of all, what I usually do if I'm gonna if I'm gonna mix any pigment is, I use my respirator for that time that I'm gonna pick up the powder or pigment from the container into the wetting or dispersant fluid. Sometimes what I do is, for example, I'm gonna do 5 and I have my dispersant ready in the container. This is like a 2-ounce container, and then basically I take from each one of them while I'm having my respirator on, and then after that I take it off and I try to just mix and making sure I don't have that powder in the air and I can inhale it into my airways. Now, being a doctor, I'm especially aware of that could be calling for trouble. But anyhow, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix one, and I can't really explain if I wear my respirator now. So what I do usually, like now for example, I try to open it from far and I open it slowly. Don't tap on the container, because then as soon as you open the container and you have to take that this piece off, then you have a lot of powder and already in the air. So now actually it's good, because this was was in the pigment tray, and it was not flipped. It was actually kept as is, and I'm gonna just try it on top of the container, so then I don't have to flip it and flip it again and all of that. It's not needed, and it's not gonna be good for us. So I will go through it the way it was explained to us from Shilei, who's the she and another person, they own a company and they made these pigments. So according to the Shilei, what you do is and of course you always learn from the source, right? And then you build up your experience. That's the way I do it. So what I'm gonna tell you also, like, my experience the last few days, because these pigments are new, right? So to me also they're new. So, but I have dealt with Jacquard Perlex pigments, and of course Color Art primary element pigments. In a way, this pigment is similar to Jacquard Perlex in terms of how soft it is. So you can see it's not large particles, they're small particles. And actually some of them are larger than others also. just when I mixed maybe seven or eight, I could tell already that they're also different in particle size and how much dispersant they need. So you kind of have to adjust also how much dispersant you need, and you go slowly. So I'm going to talk about two dispersant, but I will also link the video that talks about three dispersants and the three pigments. But today we're gonna just focus on this little piggy. So one dispersant is golden retarder, and this is a dispersant for any pigment basically. So, and the one that was advised by Chile is Jawsonia varnish for the bloom. So let's start with the bloom. And from the last few days that I've been dealing with a pigment, with TLP, I realized that you should go for similar amounts to start with, and I mean like liquid, the dispersant, and also the powder. I hope that's clear, guys. I just woke from my nap, and actually I'm having some coffee to wake up, but see, we'll try my best. So I will take half a teaspoon of Jawsonia, and I usually start with the liquid, and then since I'm gonna use this now with the other dispersant. So for both, for also the bloom technique, you can use golden retarder, and I'm gonna tell you maybe why, just based on my experience, huh? So then, so this is half a teaspoon, and I'm gonna just take, well, I'll take not a full amount, but almost. Because I think actually this amount is too much. But okay, let's just do it. That is the advice, but like I said, you build your experience later based on, you start with this, but you build your experience on a bit by bit. But you can also start with a quarter of a spoon of Jawsonia or golden retarder, and then a quarter spoon of the pigment, and build multiples when you need. So when you also disperse, try, if you're not wearing your mask like now, try also to have it like a bit far from you, and just try to catch the fluid and just wet, So now I almost have all the particles wet, but they're not dispersed. To disperse, you have to take all the granules and wet them with the dispersant, in this case Jawsonia varnish, and you try as much as possible that you don't have those granules. You don't feel them. When you don't feel the granules of the pigment, that is then the time when you have to add your pouring medium. So just putting the liquid and quickly and oh, they're wet, no. Because what we're gonna end up with is having powdery look on your painting. I don't think you want that, right? So again, don't be lazy, a lazy mixer. I said it also a few days ago. Okay, so I mean, I'm repeating myself here with this pigment because I think the last time when I discussed how to mix it, I kind of went really stingy with how much I would use. So anyways, now I don't feel any granules anymore. And this happens to be my pouring medium. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take 1 tablespoon, but for the amount that I have from the pigment, I know now that I can still have half a tablespoon more. Okay, so that is, now I'm just gonna have to be rather quick so that I can cover also mixing these pigments for other techniques than bloom technique. All right, so all right, so all you can have to do now here is mix, and this is, by the way, as seaweed. Is it seaweed? Yes. Sometimes you get perplexed between this new pigment and the other ones that I already have. So it's basically dark green. I'm not gonna be mixing it fully now. And of course, after I mix it, it needs to be thickened, because this is, for bloom technique, you need to thicken this. So I'm gonna just leave it aside down here, and I'm gonna go over another one thing to say before I go over. Try so much possible not to use too much of Josania in your mix, because I just actually made a piece yesterday, and I think I overdid it with the varnish. And when my blooms were done, I found my I found myself like sliding, you know. I was like, what's happening here, you know? So try to put as little as possible so that you don't get those cells sliding all over the place and ruining your piece. And I'm gonna show that video in the next few days, and you will see what I mean. So the other option, if you don't want to use gloss varnish, Josania varnish, and no varnish at all, is to use golden retarder. After all, you need a dispersant, you know, and as soon as you disperse your pigment, you use your pouring medium. Then you avoid also that sliding thing, you know. But I think I'm gonna play with both, because I should be able also to tell you guys, you know, my experience, right? So now let's go over using it for other forms of lip fluid arts. So again, now I'm not wearing my mask, but I made sure that my pigments are stable, and you know. So this is called Grenache. It's beautiful color. And so again, I will go over the teaching from Chile. And actually what she used Liquitex medium. Whether it's the medium or medium and varnish, because nowadays they have also pouring medium that has a varnish in it. So this or that. And she used it as a dispersant, and then she added also the pouring medium to that. What I'm gonna do is, in this case, I can tell you that you can disperse with golden retarder if you have. This is a dispersant for every pigment. But if you also don't have golden retarder, or you don't want to buy it, and you have already Liquitex Basics, the advice of Chile is you take, because now we're using it as a dispersant as well, huh? And I'm gonna have to use this later for something else. Okay, so I will take also just half a teaspoon, and in this case I'm gonna use, and you will have to excuse me, I'm gonna use only a little bit of Grenache, because I don't have, at least today, I don't have something else to do, other techniques, but soon I will. I have already mixed some colors for other forms of fluid art. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a little bit. The idea here is, to start with, is to take half a spoon of the Liquitex Basics, and you add, start let's say with quarter spoon and build over. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take an amount that I think is good, and I'm just gonna mix it just for the sake. Oops, look at that, that is not good. So let me just cover it first. You have to be careful with that this powder does not go all over the place. Okay, so basically then you just mix it. And again, you make sure that all the granules are wet. If you feel that the fluid is not enough, you add a little bit. So, you know, I mean, with this, because you're gonna use the same pouring medium, I guess, you know, it's okay to use a bit more, but you know, first you want to disperse. You don't want to mix, or otherwise we can just put it in pouring medium and that's it. But then you're not gonna you know, scratch the bottom and, you know, try that to make those granules, you know, to wet them basically, but not superficially. You know, you have to have some patience to get the most out of it as well. Otherwise, you're gonna have a powder on your piece because you haven't really mixed it very well, and you're not gonna get the full color. And remember, we're using pigments because they're special, and providing like a certain shine, a certain shimmer, a certain color. So, okay, so now I think I can't feel any granules anymore. So then basically you take your Liquitex and you add, you know, from 15 to 25 ml. You can just add, yeah, let's say for example, 1.5, 25 cc. And then this is what I'm saying now is your base. From this, and according to your experience, you will know how much you need for a glass this big, or for whatever form of pouring or fluid art. Then of course you're gonna just mix it really well, really well. And of course it's gonna be also very thin. So I think if you're going for, look at this color. I don't know if it's clear. It's a beautiful color. So if you're gonna, I think you still can add more, but depending on what kind of fluid art you're gonna do, you might need to thicken or thin. To me, actually, this now, I would rather, if I'm making, let's say, a glass this big, I think I can easily use this, and still I'm gonna be fine for, let's say, I don't know, flip and drag, or but this is your base, and based on this you decide if you need to use it also alone, or maybe add it to another paint, and then you get like a mix of both. You can also use some of the interference, like for example from Color Art, you have like interference gold, you can add it to any color. You have interference red that you can add to red or add to any color. And in for example, for this little piggy, I used yesterday shimmer in the video that I uploaded today. And shimmer you can use on its own, but you can add it also to any color to give it that shimmer, basically, or change a little bit of its color. I hope that's clear. And yeah, I mean, I think personally this one is the color intensity is so big that I think you can actually add a lot to it and use with a brush, or whatever. I hope that's clear. Enjoy, guys. Bye for now.